Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. We're happy to have you all on the call. My name is Shatanshu, and I'm a program manager at Google. I'm going to be a co-presenter today. The session is on Performance Max and how you can optimize a Performance Max campaign. We have a co-host, Pallavi, who will quickly introduce herself. But my experience is mostly around 10.5 years in digital marketing, mostly around Google Ads, and I've been associated with Google for over 5 years now. I'm a program manager at Google, as I said earlier, and happy to have you all on the call. If you have any questions, if you're joining us on Ads on Air, take advantage of Q&A, ask us questions, take advantage of the chat option that you have on Ads on Air as well. And if you're joining us on YouTube live stream, you can still ask us questions in the YouTube comment section. We'll bring those queries up on the screen. We'll try to address them as and when the time permits. Pallavi, a quick introduction before we get started.
Thank you so much, Shatanshu. Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon, good morning, and good evening based on your separate time zones. Like Shatanshu said, we are very glad to have you all here today. With that, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Pallavi Bagrudia, your immediate POC at the hour of need. While having a good experience from in Google Ads for a long time now, I can understand what expectations and what challenges you all face on a regular basis while working on the interface. And that's where Shatanshu and I together will ensure that we mediate your expectations with this entire presentation today, right? Now, before we begin and we get into the depth of the entire presentation, feel free to drop in your comments in chat and ask us as many questions as possible. We are free to address them. Next slide, please. All right, again, a warm welcome. We have some exciting opportunities for our attendees today. We invite you all to join our community of product experts. This is a very vibrant community of super users who play a very vital role within the Google ecosystem. And now, some of you are most excited about the Google swag. Engage with us through this live stream over the next 1 hour. Ask us as many questions, give us product feedback, and then win prizes. Prizes will go to the folks who both engage during the session and also fill out the feedback form via the form link here attached in the form of a QR code. And very important, ensure that you use this QR code or the link in chat to fill out the form with a very valid CID and also your email address. In order to qualify for anything you see here on the screen, you need to ensure you follow these two specific steps, right? So before we get into the depth, I would give you all another 30 seconds to quickly scan the QR code, and then we'll get into the discussion further. All right, so today we have a very interesting bunch of content lined up for you all. We will talk about what Performance Max campaign is, followed by understanding the different marketing objectives it is compatible with. Furthermore, we also talk about a few optimization procedures and insights that you derive from the Performance Max campaign, thereby understanding how to scale the overall campaign further, right? And also, we're going to talk about a few best practices, especially for retail and feed optimization procedures, right? Now, next slide. Let's take a look on how you can use AI to uncover new pockets of demand by marketing, right, at the speed of the consumers. No matter how unpredictable their journeys may be, and why insights reporting and also the measurement is a cornerstone of AI-powered solutions, Performance Max is the answer to all of those different multiple channel signals coming and meeting at a single point, right? Next slide. Consumer journeys are now moving towards different targets. Purchase decisions online are getting more complex, dynamic, and also nuanced than ever. On one hand, consumers are turning into real productive detectives. We observe this research obsession as people explore and evaluate their options more than ever before, right? Now, 61% of the consumers are using five or more online sources before they buy. They like to interact with multiple channels. They like to view the same product in different areas when they are surfing through the internet, like search, watching an online video, going to the maps. This is an all-time high even compared to the heights of COVID, right? After COVID, people have more moved towards online purchase and less towards offline. When we see all those delivery partners for little small things reaching to our doorstep to deliver each and every little product that we need in a regular um, day-to-day lifestyle, right? And now we are also seeing searches that are more refined and specific. Consumers aren't just looking for apparel, they're also searching for matching pajamas for couples, right? So that's how we see the change in the overall behavior of the consumers post COVID and how it is impacting the overall digital landscape. So here we're going to talk about what Performance Max campaign is, what's the magic of Performance Max, and how it is different from the rest of the campaigns, right? Now the slide shows a very beautiful evolution of where we have come through in the last 15 to 20 years of running shopping ads from Google, right? When standard shopping was introduced a few years back, feed driven search intent based ads were being supported, and they were popped up consistently on the first two properties, that is shopping and search. With smart shopping campaigns that came around 2018 to 2022, we are now showing ads on other three properties, additionally, which were Gmail, YouTube, and display. And the Performance Max campaign that was introduced very recently, 2 years back, we had it a notch higher by showing ads on the last two properties as well, that is Discovery and Maps, right? So to summarize, we have evolved from the first two properties to five and now to seven. And this means that our campaigns are more cross-channel in nature, giving you the opportunity to buy ads from a single campaign across all Google properties, helping you drive more online sales, leads, and also store visits. Now, Performance Max campaign, it's a combination of AI and automation together, like we know, right? And for marketers, this means that getting the right message in front of the right consumer and also at the right place is constantly a moving target. So in order to be present on at those key moments or on all of those path to purchase, campaigns can be set up from the start to be truly AI powered. PMax campaign can actually do that exactly. You can set up your goal, you can set up your budget, and also provide some core assets, and then you will see Performance Max works across all of your advertising surfaces to discover new pockets of demand and deliver highest performing media campaign for you. Now, the future of performance campaign is here. We don't do search or display. We don't talk CPC or impression share. We just activate performance goals like driving online sales, lead generation, and also offline sales, reaching customers where they are online, whether they are online. And thanks to the machine learning based infrastructure that are proven to work at its best for us today, right? Next slide. Yeah. Now, an important game changer here is the fact that one can get more conversions at a similar cost per action using Performance Max campaign. The AI here finds the highest value conversions at the best possible ROI across the entire Google network. And doing this, it tries to prioritize your business goals like sales or leads to ensure that it's optimizing the targets, bids, budget allocations, and also all of your ad placements. Next slide. Now, these agile campaigns enable your budgets to follow demand and growth, whether they are across the channels and inventory that will deliver the most value to you. And while this may be a change from channel specific approaches, some marketing team use it. It's based on most of its result, right? When Performance Max campaign first came out a couple of years ago, you were seeing around 13% more conversions at a similar cost per action. But now that those that are using Performance Max campaign currently, are seeing an overall 18% uplift. So it has over the years shown a progressive growth in the overall performance, whether you want to go for online sales, lead generation, and also store visits, right? Now, we're going to talk about how does Performance Max campaign actually help you. How does a marketer ensure that he or she is reaching to the right target group at the right place and also at the right time? There are three ways in which Performance Max campaign actually helps you answer all of these questions. First, it helps you have multiple conversations or multiple connections with the users in the form of interacting with them at multiple touch points, that is Google, that is search, shopping, display, discovery, networks, and so on, using the entire Google Ads inventory. You can also multiply your conversions and conversion value by optimizing for the highest ROAS conversion opportunities. Now, having the campaign set to run in all channels while using all of these inventories, whichever inventory has the highest ROI conversion possibility will be optimized towards the end. And lastly, we also talk about multiplying expertise by sharing relevant insights using these campaigns. I'm pretty sure you all must have seen there are different set of insights that we can now deduce compared to the previous times. We have performance insights, we have keyword level insights, asset group level insights. So these are all the ways through which you can actually analyze the performance drivers of your clients business. You can create insights on the highest performing products or even the asset groups, and also suggest your clients certain best practices to ensure that they capitalize on them. And these insights altogether will set a platform for you to plan on your next campaign structure um, in a more structured manner accordingly, right? Next slide. So, whether your goal is selling online or driving requests for a code or trying to get more traffic foot to your storefront, it is your business that focuses on any of these goals. Performance Max is the newest way to drive more of these three separate objectives for your business, right? Now we're gonna talk about a new feature. Next slide. Yeah. Now we're gonna talk about a new feature that we have within Performance Max, and that is the new customer acquisition mode. This feature helps you expand your audience base by bringing in new set of customers rather than retargeting the ads to the same set of audiences in the upper funnel of the consumer journey. Based on our internal analysis, it has been deduced that advertisers that are using this feature improved their overall new customer ratio by around 13%, with a reduced acquisition cost by around 19%, right? So we're going to talk about details about how this new customer acquisition mode works for us in the upcoming slides. But the overall objective to talk about this specific topic is the fact that it will ensure that rather than focusing on the retargeting customers and also the uh, existing visitors or the existing users within your website or within any landing pages, you can also try to target your entire ad to new set of audiences which can be utilized to be retargeted later in the future, right? So it basically expands your overall base of audience list that can be reutilized in your future for a greater customer lifetime value. Now, while we know how different Performance Max campaign is from the rest of the search, display, and discovery campaigns, the key feature that we are aware of is its potential to target multiple channels from a single campaign, right? With that, Performance Max also has the power to utilize the cross channel bidding mechanism in a very more optimized manner. You may see an unexpected channel to deliver you better results compared to the previous campaign performance, right? So basically, what happens? Let's say, for example, you're running a search campaign and you see that that search campaign is not delivering you better results compared to a discovery campaign. But within Performance Max campaign in itself, you will be able to identify which channel is giving you better performance compared to the rest of the other channels. And based on that, you can optimize that specific channel using the conversion value rules, which we're going to discuss in the later slides, right? So that's how this cross-channel bidding optimization works for a performance max campaign. Now, while we are creating performance max campaign, what actually matters is the quality of inputs that you feed within your camp, right? Human intervention in combination with artificial intelligence plays a very crucial role, like we all know that today, right? And behind every campaign success is the marketer leading the way towards meeting your objective or goal. Your input can help differentiate your business and also drive better results from artificial intelligence. The key levers you can use to steer the power of artificial intelligence include clear conversion goals, high quality creative assets, product feeds, audience signals, etc. Right? Now, if you see this entire list here, it talks about how each of these bidding and advanced goals, budgeting, measurement data, creative feeds, and also insights play a very crucial role based on the kind of inputs that you feed within your campaign, right? So the better the kind of input you feed within your campaign, the better the performance of the campaign and the better the results. That is a path to a optimal optimization of that specific campaign to deliver you better results, right? Now, one of the most common question that we have addressed a lot is that how does a search campaign and a performance max campaign work together? One thing that we explicitly want to share with all of our um, practitioners today is that search and performance max campaign both, if run together, is a power pairing. And this combination overall will help you gain maximum options. While search is only limited to just one channel, using broad match keywords with smart bidding and good quality responsive search ads will enable search campaigns to perform better based on the respective marketing objectives and goals that you have set within the campaign. And then clubbing this campaign with Performance Max campaign will help in a better keyword coverage with the AI technologies and also ensure to cover all those inventories that your search queries were not able to cater in the previous search campaign. So that's how both a search campaign and a performance max campaign work together, right? It ensures that it is multiplying the overall results and giving you a higher ROI across all of your Google ads compared to how it used to work before, right? Now, we're going to talk about how to start a performance max campaign, right? There are a few steps that are enlisted in the next slide. Next slide, please. Right. So, starting with defining a goal based on your business model, then we follow into opting into the Performance Max campaign, followed by determining the appropriate budget and also the bid strategy in the form of target ROAS or also CPA. And along with that, we also work towards adding a few low hanging settings like geolocation, conversion actions, and also a bunch of other things like that are also advisable, right? And number five includes adding a bunch of assets like texts, images, videos, headline descriptions, etc. And all the audience signals, which allows you to add more audience cohorts, which you believe the system should go after based on the observation and targeting method, right? And lastly, we also have adding in a few extensions at the campaign or an asset group level for the overall performance, right? So, following each of these steps will ensure that you are on the right page of starting your Performance Max campaign and you are on the verge of ensuring that your Performance Max campaign is about to be optimized at the right possible level based on the level of inputs and based on the set of audiences you define within that campaign, right? Now, the next we're going to talk about a set of certain prerequisites that you should keep handy or follow before launching the campaign, right? You can refer to the list of all those text assets, image assets, and video assets dimensions, and also how to set up your conversion tracking within the Performance Max campaign, right? So remember that each of these assets are following all these certain prerequisites to ensure that the campaign is able to feed the right text and right images based on the search queries that the user is searching for at a particular point of time, right? So there has been times that if, say, for example, your video assets or image assets are not in place, the AI will automatically pull or create its own form of image and video assets based on the entire shopping feed or the entire list of inventory that they have, right? So, in order to ensure that you want to stick to the specific set of images and video assets that you provide within the system, you need to ensure that you follow all of these certain prerequisites before you launch the Performance Max campaign, right? Now, we're going to talk about the best combination of an optimal asset mix within a Performance Max campaign, right? We here have certain best practices that can be followed when it comes to uploading the text as in what kind of headlines you're feeding into, the kind of descriptions that you're feeding into. And then we also have the image best practices, like I mentioned before. We need to ensure that we are following the dimensions, the dimension requirements asked by Google. Similarly, for the video best practices, there needs to be at least three videos, including one vertical and one square between a 10 to 60 seconds video length, right? And then we also have the logo best practices, which ensures that all of these four best practices combined together will give you an optimal asset mix. Now, we're going to talk about in details Performance Max campaign based on your marketing objective. Next slide. Right. So, like we have been discussing in the previous slides, there are three main objectives that we can meet when it comes to launching a Performance Max campaign, whether you want to go for an online sale, offline visit, or also lead generation towards your campaign, right? So, before we discuss the other two objectives, first we're going to talk about how Performance Max campaign works for travel goods. Next slide. All right. Now, while the traditional interface only worked towards meeting a few restricted objectives, mainly the online sales, the modern Google Ads interface focuses towards diversifying its overall business objectives to more areas, right? And now we also know that using this Performance Max campaign, we can meet our travel goals, right? So, next slide. So, Performance Max campaign for travel goals targets all the PMax surfaces. It automatically adds hotel inventory, targeting to drive property specific brand traffic on search, and then this simplified targeting uses hotel information like location, amenities, ratings, and also reviews for overall coverage and landing page control. And for inventory, it's the same as Performance Max campaign with added coverage for their hotel property queries and search. For that subset of property queries, it is incremental even to a dynamic search ad and comes with an added benefit of a landing page control, right? So when it comes to you ensuring that you want to have more of your travel goals or more of your people visiting to your hotel websites, Performance Max campaign is the newest way to ensure that it's meeting that objective, right? Next slide. Yeah. Now, Performance Max for travel goals has the same functionality as a regular Performance Max campaign, but it is built and enhanced specifically for hotels, like I mentioned before. We were able to discuss this because of the rich licensed content that we have for the hotel practitioners around the entire world, including the images, descriptions, amenities, and also the unique attributes, right? So now if you see how a Performance Max campaign works for travel goals, it ensures that the feed assets inventory and also your audience signals are all in place based on the set of based on the hotel website and also the hotel center feed that you have or you have given within your performance max campaign, right? So when you talk about meeting these few travel goals, you have to ensure that you have enabled Google My Business. You also have Google Merchant Center. You also have dynamic ad feeds. You also have business ad feeds. But all of this are optional. Most importantly, you have to ensure that you are using the right set of audience signals. You also have the geo targeting enabled, the right budget, and also the inventories. When I talk about the inventory, the search, map, display, Gmail, discovery, and YouTube are all in place. So make sure that you are also feeding in the right messaging, right kind of text within your campaign to ensure that people or the users are able to make sense out of the search queries that they are searching for a specific hotel or a specific travel related location that they're looking forward to visit, right? Now, with that, I'm going to pass it over to Shitanshu to talk about the rest of the marketing objectives that we can meet using the Performance Max campaign, right? So, over to you, Shitanshu.
Thanks, Pallavi. That was a very detailed segment on how to use Performance Max. And thanks for covering a few of the major marketing objective that falls under the purview of Performance Max. What I'll do now is there are some questions which I have received in on Ads on Air chat. I'll try to answer those one by one. So Akampa says, and I'll probably also put that question here for everyone's understanding. This is a question from Akampa. It's more of a feedback, which is, hey, let me put it on the screen. Yeah. So the question is, I need hands-on assistance on setting up this type of campaign. So I think the question is, hey, can I get a hands-on assistance on setting up a Performance Max campaign and how to create a Performance Max campaign? Now, obviously, there's only so much of time that we have, and we might not be able to cover everything on Performance Max and how to set up the campaign itself, rather. So what I have done is I provided a support link, which leads you to Google Ads support article, which tells you exactly how you can set up a campaign step by step. There was a segment where Pallavi tried to explain how to run a Performance Max campaign. She did went in detail about 6 steps that you need to take in order to create a Performance Max campaign. But the link that I have shared in the chat on both Ads on Air as well as on YouTube live stream, you can use that link in order to get more descriptive explanation of how to start running a Performance Max campaign. If you're someone who's starting off as a fresh performance marketer, if you're creating a Performance Max campaign for the first time, that link will be helpful for you. Another question that we have in the chat is from Subodh. So Subodh says, and again, I'll pick this question also on the screen so that we are all anyone else who has the who has a similar question, they also get the answer. His question is Performance Max, if ran for generating leads specifically in India, will provide a lot of duplicate as well as highly irrelevant leads. So both not the kind of experience that we want you to have. Obviously, the purpose of Performance Max is to help you generate the lower funnel conversion actions. And if you're using Performance Max campaign and you're getting irrelevant leads or maybe not a very high quality lead, there is a process through which you can improve the quality of your lead. Some of the suggestion would be one, to add audience signals. And when you add audience signals, you provide a way for Google to understand what kind of audiences works well for you. So that's one. The other is if in case you have campaigns which are running a Performance Max campaign that is running and you have a proper account structure. I think Pallavi covered this earlier in the segment where you have to have proper campaign structure for different marketing objective. So if you're running Performance Max campaign for lead gen, the other way to look for would be to make sure that you have a proper campaign and account structure. So you have also have got options of including captcha on your landing page in order to improve the quality of leads. So those are different ways that we suggest you to use in order to improve the quality of lead. There are some steps that Google is also doing in order to improve the quality of lead. This is one of the feedback we received in a few of our conversations with our partners across multiple agencies. What we are doing now is there are a lot of steps being taken on behalf of Google in order to optimize and make sure that the quality of lead is of top notch. But as I suggested, there are some steps that you can take as well in order to improve the quality, which includes providing relevant signals, which include also adding a relevant captcha in order to avoid getting any invalid lead, right? So those are the steps that you can do in order to optimize the quality of lead. And also you can choose to provide conversion value assignment based on the audiences that you have added. So you can add audiences as a signal, and then you can provide incremental conversion values for some of the audiences which works better for you. And when you do that, again, you're providing a signal through which Google is able to identify audiences that are more valuable to you, and you will see significant improvement in the quality of leads that you receive by running a Performance Max campaign. So, Bo, thanks for asking that question. I hope that was helpful. Akampa has another question. I'll pick that as well. And this is a great question. Akampa says, how best can someone Yeah. So the question is, how best can someone manage the budget within this kind of campaign? Now, with Performance Max, fortunately, there are a lot of reports and insights that is available. Now, one of the tool that you have with Performance Max campaign is Performance Planner. So within Google Ads, you have a tool called Performance Planner, similar to Budget Planner. So you can go to Performance Planner, and that will give you a good idea of how much of budget you need to set for that campaign in order to optimize it properly, right? So that tells you a forecast. It gives you a forecast of how many conversions, what kind of results can you expect with a certain budget that you assign to a Performance Max campaign. So take advantage of Performance Planner, which is part of your shared library in Google Ads, and use it in order to identify and in order to understand the exact budget that you need to set for your Performance Max campaign to set it for success, right? Do not make guess, right? Do not have a random budget assigned. Take advantage of Performance Planner to actually get accurate values with predictive understanding of what kind of results can you expect with Performance Max campaign. All right, there's another question from Swati. Swati says, okay, I'll pick this question on the screen as well. Swati's question is, I'm looking for lead quality and not just volume. How can I make sure I'm getting high quality leads for performance from Performance Max? I think Swati, we briefly touched upon this, which is how do you improve the quality of lead? As I said, one way and one of the ways which is mostly overlooked and can actually significantly impact the quality of lead is by including audience signals in your Performance Max campaign. So whenever you're creating Performance Max campaign, remember the audiences does not work as a target, but rather observation. So when you add audiences to your Performance Max campaign, that's one way of providing signal and letting it know what kind of audiences are more likely to convert. Right? When you do that, the quality of leads will significantly improve. Right? It's like, hey, I tell you, hey, I need. Say you are in an office you work where there are more than 2,000 people working, right? And there are multiple Swatis in that office. So I go to that office and I say, hey, I'm looking for Swati. Can you go? I find a guard and I say, hey, I'm looking for Swati. Can you please go and ask her to come and meet me? Now the guard will have a hard time finding the right Swati. It might end up getting the Swati, which is not the one that I'm looking for, right? And then I'll have to go back and ask, no, no, this is not the right Swati. I'll have to provide more description about the Swati that I'm looking for. Compare that with a case that I go to the office and I go to the guard and I say, hey, I'm looking for Swati with so and so descriptions, right? She works in, say, marketing department of the company. She is leading a team of 10 individuals. She's a program manager. She's an account manager, so on and so forth. When I provide those signals, when I provide those additional detail, it's more likely that the guard would be able to find the right Swati for me, right? And I'll be able to find the Swati that I'm looking for very quickly. Similarly, it happens with Performance Max campaign as well. When you do not add any audience signals, it is a black box. So you say, hey, I want to find conversions, and here are some details, but I don't know what kind of audiences usually convert to my business. Now that will take some time to optimize as compared to when you provide audiences and you say, hey, I'm looking for conversions, I'm looking for leads. These are the kind of people who in past have converted, or these are the kind of people who have tendency of converting as a business for the client that I manage. Can you go and find similar audiences, or can you go and find similar customer and convert them? That speeds up one learning phase for performance max campaign. So your campaign is able to learn and optimize way quicker. Two, it also is able to identify those audiences more frequently, and your quality of lead will significantly improve. So that's definitely a short way of optimizing for audiences. The other would be, and as I said earlier, also Google is taking steps in order to optimize the quality of leads, right? And one of the process that we are doing is those publications or those placements through which these invalid conversions are happening, they are being penalized, right? So if there's any placement that caters and that generates automated clicks or quality not non irrelevant traffic, and conversions are robotic in a way, or spammy, or rather, such placements are being penalized in order to discourage them and in order to optimize the quality of leads. There are some steps that Google is taking in order to optimize the quality of lead. And there are some steps that you can do in order to optimize the lead as well. One of which, as I said, is adding audience, providing audience conversion values, or optimizing your landing page in a way that it has a captcha so that you double check the quality of lead. And those are some ways through which you can take steps in order to optimize the quality of leads that you're generating for your business. Okay, there's another question that I have. This is an interesting question which I also want to pick up. Again, there seems to be a lot of questions on the quality of leads, and it seems a lot of people are using Performance Max for lead gen, which is a good thing, and that makes us happy. This question, which I'm going to put now on the screen, it says, I've been using Performance Max for lead gen for more than a year now. The first 2 to 3 weeks, the campaigns will be really well, but then the performance drops. Conversion rate moves from double digit to below 5%. What causes this? As I said, right, look, the quality of leads is a factor which is in your control. There are a lot of things that you can do in order to optimize the quality of lead and also the quality of your campaign. Now, when you launch a Performance Max campaign, initially it goes in a learning phase. It tries to optimize your campaign. What you really need to do is refresh your content, which in this case is assets. So refresh your assets frequently in order to optimize your Performance Max campaign. Also keep on adding audience signals and other signals as and when need be, right? So if you gather some audience reports, add them back to your Performance Max campaign. Keep a close eye on insights to figure out what's working, what's not, and accordingly modify your content. Look at asset reports in order to identify the assets which has a poor ad quality score, and then optimize such assets by adding more headlines, descriptions, or new versions of images. So Performance Max is a continuous process which needs optimization, and you have to look at these levers. As I said, optimize your assets, add more signals to your campaign, take advantage of insight reports in order to identify what's working, what's not. If there's a product that needs a specific attention and you have to have specific headlines and descriptions added around those products, those insights you can generate through the insights tab on your Performance Max campaign, and there are tons of insights available for Performance Max campaign. Take advantage of those insights in order to optimize your Performance Max campaign. That will be superbly helpful if you're planning to optimize your lead gen Performance Max campaign. This is a question from Anya. I'll take this question before and after that, we'll get back to content, and then the rest of the questions we can pick up later in the session. Now, this question from Anya is there a placement inventory report for PMax so we can see how much investment is going towards such search versus maps versus display, etc. There is a workaround for this, Anya. I hear you, and what I'll do is I'll share a detailed article on how you can generate a similar report not necessarily of the type that you are hoping for, but something very similar to that one, right? And then you can use that in your Performance Max campaign and let us know if that's working well for you or not, right? There is process through which you can use APIs in order to do this as well. But if you're not comfortable with APIs, what I can do is I can share some insights reports, which is which is which is helping you generate placement reports in your Performance Max campaign. So this is an Help Center article that tells you how you can create a placement report in Performance Max campaign. See if this is helpful for you. And then for others also, if there's anyone in this group who was hoping to create a placement report, this is the Help Center article that you can use. I'm showing it on the screen right now. It's also in the chat. I'll be putting this up in the ads on air chat as well, so that you all have a detailed understanding of how placement reports works in Performance Max campaign. We've gathered some more questions, and I really appreciate everyone coming forward and asking us those questions. We'll try to answer them as and when time permit. But I think considering that we have less than 20 minutes left now, I'll get back to the content, and towards the end, I'll reserve some time so that we can go back to these questions and answer them. All right. And on the queue, since we had a lot of questions around lead generation, the next segment is actually aptly on how Performance Max for lead generation works. Now you have to remember when you're creating a Performance Max campaign for lead gen is that Performance Max is going to be a complementary campaign to your primary lead gen campaign. So if you're running, for example, a search campaign for generating lead, we do not recommend you to replace that with Performance Max campaign. We rather tell you to keep your primary lead gen campaign running as is, and add a Performance Max as a complementary campaign on top of it, so that you generate additional conversions, so that you generate additional lead flow to your business, right? Now how do they two work together? When you have a search campaign running, for example, as a primary lead gen campaign, and then you club that with a Performance Max, they help you maximize your performance by driving more performance through automation. Since Performance Max campaign itself is all about automation, what you do is now you are exploring the full potential of Google Ads, machine learning, and AI technology. And that helps you optimize your performance and generate a lot of additional leads without having to sweat a lot, which means you don't have to put a lot of effort in optimizing, but rather the campaigns are using automation technology to optimize itself. So you keep focusing on your search campaign, you set up a Performance Max campaign, and you generate those incremental conversion to your business. The other way is that by driving more performance through unlocking cross-channel inventory while meeting your CPA and ROAS goals. Now, remember what Pallavi said earlier. Performance Max is a cross-channel, campaign, which means it does not only appear on one channel, but rather on all the channels within Google Ads inventory. Which means if you are running search campaign as your primary lead gen campaign, you are so far capturing interactions from search campaign only. But with Performance Max, you are now visible on all the inventories, which means if your prospect buyers, if your prospect customers are on other channels, including display, video, or discovery, they also get to see your campaign, and they then you have expanded view of your campaign, and you have more potential of converting a higher volume of users as compared to just running a search campaign. So those are a few ways through which Performance Max, when clubbed together with search campaign, is able to generate incremental conversions or leads to your business. Now, this is the slide I think for which we had a lot of questions, which is, hey, how do I drive higher quality leads when it comes to Performance Max campaign for lead gen? Now, what we do here is we talk about how you can drive higher volume, higher quality leads using conversion value rules. This is what I was talking about when I said, hey, you can add audience and a signal, but you can also provide a value rule along with your audience. So there are three things. There are three signals through which you can pass conversion value rules, which is audience, geolocation, and devices. So in case a certain audience works better for you, you can provide a conversion value rule when you're setting up your campaign, right? And you can say, hey, audiences that falls under these lists, they are more likely to convert and they are more valued to me, and hence I want to value them, let's say $10 more than the usual conversion. Similarly, for geolocation, you can set a conversion value rule, and you can set a conversion value rule for device as well. Now, when you do provide those conversion value rules on these three signals, the quality of leads can significantly be improved. Now, you have to be mathematical about it. You have to be scientifically driving these conversion value rules for your business. You have to identify those audiences, those geolocations, those devices that significantly has better lifetime value, for example, for your customers, or are more likely to convert from a particular device or particular geolocation. So when you do provide conversion value rules, take the necessary due diligence to identify the audiences and geolocations and devices which are more likely to convert, and add them as a signal, and then provide a conversion value rule against those audiences or locations or devices. And that will significantly improve the quality of lead that you're driving. Now, the next segment is Performance Max for store goals, which is one of the objective for which Performance Max is highly utilized. Now, with Performance Max for store goal, what you get is you get to meet the right person at the right time with the right masses on the right platform, because your campaign is now cross channel, and the masses is automated. Your creatives are automatically combined and created. What you get is that you have a right masses for the right person, and that too on the right time at the right platform. So your campaign, since it's running across all the platforms, across all the inventories, you get to meet the right person on the right platform. Now, there are three key objectives or strategies for which Performance Max is used for a store goal visit. One is when you have to maximize traffic across all of locations, right? So if your client or your business has multiple locations, and you want to optimize and you want to maximize the traffic across all the locations, so that can be one of the strategy when you're using Performance Max for store goal visit. Or the other would be when you have to support a specific location or locations, when you have specific locations which is not getting as much of traction, and you want to drive more footprint and more store visits to such locations, you can create a Performance Max campaign for that strategy as well. The third strategy is when you have to drive store visits through product showcasing. So you just want to showcase some of your product that you have on offering, and you want to use Performance Max to showcase your products in order to capture more or in order to drive more traffic to your offline store. That's the third strategy for which Performance Max can be utilized. Now, if I talk about maximizing traffic across all the locations, it can further be drilled down into three different strategies. The first one is when you have a need to drive store visits, because offline customers are more valuable to you as compared to online customers. So you get, for example, online sales on your website usually gives you, let's say, X dollars of a average cart value, as compared to offline store when the value is X plus 20% or X plus 30%. So your offline store visit is more valuable because you tend to have larger bucket size when the offline sales happen. In those cases, you may want to maximize traffic across all your locations, right? The other would be when there is an annual sale that is coming up and you want to drive traffic to your offline store as much as possible, so that the annual sales can be utilized properly and you have maximum sales happening during that phase of time. And then what can I do to drive my offline visits and sales? In case you are wondering, you're not getting enough offline traffic, you're not getting enough offline visits, that's the third use case where maximize traffic across all locations becomes a strategy for you under Performance Max campaign. Now, when it comes to Performance Max for online sales, it's pretty straightforward. Some of the changes that we have done, and some of you may have used Smart Shopping campaign in past, which was the go-to campaign for online sales. A Smart Shopping campaign was very helpful for most of the advertisers. What we have done with Performance Max is we have gone a notch up, and we have added more features to Smart Shopping campaign, and hence Performance Max has more inventory. You see more formats that is supported. You also see there's more bidding strategy now. For example, maximize conversion with optional CPA was not part of a Smart Shopping campaign, but now you can use that bidding strategy for your Performance Max campaign. Under controls and transparency, you have audience signals which you can add now to your Performance Max campaign, which is not earlier part of Smart Shopping campaign. So what we have done is that we have added more features to Smart Shopping campaign, and we have made it an upgrade to Performance Max campaign. All right. Now, when it comes to driving online sales, right, across, you have two options, either to drive or engage with all the users, or you can optimize for new customers, right? Which means you can choose if you want to optimize for new customers. If new customers are more valuable to you as compared to a new repeat customer, under customer acquisition options, you have that setting available where you can choose, where you can either bid only for new customer, or you can bid for everyone. However, you can bid higher for new customer acquisition, and that setting is available in your Performance Max campaign. We call it New Customer Acquisition Goal, which is NCA, and you can utilize this in order to optimize your campaign to generate new customer acquisition for your business, as compared to having a lot of repeat customer visit your website and your property. Now, how does Google identifies if it's a new customer, or a repeat customer? So that will be a question that many of you may have, which is, hey, if I optimize my campaign for new customer, how does Google know if it's a new customer or a repeat customer? Now, there are three ways to do this. One, through the customer list that you upload. So you can upload customer list and say, hey, these are the customers that I already have. Can you generate additional customer to me now, which is not part of this customer list that I've uploaded? So that's one way of providing a customer list and then allowing Google to get you something which is beyond that list. Then there's also something called auto detection. Now, obviously, Google algorithm is capable of understanding if a visitor to your website is a repeat visitor, or in a lot of cases it is able to identify if it's a repeat customer or a new customer. So that's auto detection way through which it is able to identify, and all advertisers are automatically enrolled into auto detection. For customer list, you have to upload customer list. Now, for global site tag, if you're using global site tag GA4 or other tagging within Google's ecosystem, you are enabling Google to track and understand if a user is a repeat customer or have converted in past or not. And those are three different ways through which Google is able to identify a new customer or a repeat customer. Now, as I said earlier, new customer acquisition goal is helpful, but we have added more feature to it. So instead of just optimizing for new customer acquisition now, you can also optimize within new customer acquisition the customers that have tendency of driving high value lifetime value, right? So for example, if I'm running a Performance Max campaign, first I have an option to choose if I want to drive new customer to my business, or am I okay driving repeat customer as well. If I choose new customer as a goal, if I choose new customer as a acquisition goal, further I have another option where I say, hey, I don't only want to acquire new customer, but on top of that, I want only those new customers to be acquired which tend to have a high predictive lifetime value, which means the new customers that can generate higher lifetime value to my business, they are the ones that I want to capture. So that's an option that is now available in your Performance Max campaign, and you can optimize towards high value optimization within new customer acquisition goal as well. Now, what we have done on this slide is we have tried to put together some sales-based best practices for online sales Performance Max campaign that includes promotional timing. So you can set a proper promotional timing. Is if a promotional cycle is upcoming, you should prioritize your assets and campaign build well in advance, at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance, is what we suggest you to do. Also, prioritize visual assets. So if you have any sales-based campaign, make sure that you have as much of visual assets added, which includes banners and videos. Also, run Performance Max in parallel with your search keyword campaign. Do not replace your search keyword campaign with the Performance Max campaign. Rather, create Performance Max as an additional campaign on top of your existing search keyword campaign. And that gives you a complete power pairing, as explained by Pallavi earlier in the session, which is power pairing is when you have search campaign running, which targets the keyword based users, and then Performance Max, which is keyword less targeting. So both combined together can get you the optimal result. Now, how do you optimize your campaign? If you look at a life cycle of a Performance Max campaign, or for that matter, any campaign you have planned, you implement, then you optimize and measure, and then you monitor. Thankfully, Google has solutions across all these four stages. So you have solutions that helps you plan. As I talked about performance planner earlier, you have video creation tool and so on and so forth. Similarly, you have tools on during implementation. You have tools that supports optimizing and measuring the success of your campaign, and there are tools within Performance Max campaign that helps you monitor your existing Performance Max campaign. Now, when it comes to optimizing your Performance Max campaign, you need to understand what's in your control. So you see, you define your goal, and then there are some signals that you provide. Through those signals, Performance Max campaign is able to optimize, which includes audience, conversion values, conversion tracking, image, which is part of creative. So you have images, videos, text, landing pages, UX, SEO, and all that, right? And then you have shopping feed in case you're running a feed-based Performance Max campaign. Now, by adjusting and by making changes to all these signals that you're looking at right now, starting from audience to landing page UX and SEO, you will be able to optimize your Performance Max campaign. Now, some of the ideas that we have put together in the next few slides includes OptiScore recommendations, which helps you optimize your Performance Max campaign. You can adjust your budget and ROAS in order to also optimize your Performance Max campaign. We did talk about at length how insight space can be helpful in optimizing your PMax campaign. Then there's audience signals. We have also talked about audience signals previously and how audience signals can help you optimize your campaign. And then there's brand safety. So what we'll do now is we'll talk about some of these in detail in the coming slides. Now on this slide, you have a list of all the Performance Max campaign related OptiScore recommendations that you can opt into. So the next time you have to optimize your Performance Max campaign, you can simply go to your recommendation tab in Google Ads, and you can look for these recommendations there, and you can apply them in order to optimize your PMax campaign. These are all the insights that is currently part of Performance Max campaign. You have audience insights, there's performance driver, change history insights, diagnostic insights, there's asset audience insights, audience persona, search term, search trends, and demand forecast insights. So these are all different types of insights that is currently part of Performance Max campaign, and you can use them in order to identify the opportunities of optimizing your Performance Max campaign. What we also have in Performance Max is something called troubleshooting, which is explanation for Performance Max performance drop. So in case you compare your Performance Max campaign data over two different phases, and if there's a significant drop in your performance, it comes with an explanation. It tells you the reason for that dip in performance and how you can overcome such situation, right? What corrective action do you need to take in order to optimize your campaign? So explanations or troubleshooting is a great way to understand the reason for your campaign not performing well. Someone just typed in the chat and said, "Hey, in the first few weeks we got great result in our Performance Max campaign, but later the performance dropped." Now, if you have to evaluate and understand why that happened, you can simply go to your particular campaign and compare your performance data of last few weeks where you haven't seen a lot of result to previous time frame, and it will tell you exactly why your performance may have dropped significantly. We did talk about audiences, but I want to emphasize on two types of audiences, just customer match and dynamic remarketing list. They are going to significantly improve the quality of your Performance Max campaign. So if you're not using it, make sure that you add as much of customer match and dynamic remarketing list to your Performance Max campaign as possible. Then there's also brand safety and suitability control. As in any other Google Ads campaign, all the brand safety features are also part of Performance Max campaign. Some of these are at account level, the others are at campaign level, and those are mapped here on this tricks, which tells you what all brand safety and control do you have, which you can influence through account level setting, and where can you use campaign level settings in order to influence the brand safety and suitability control in your PMax campaign. Then comes feed optimization. If you look at a normal feed, feed funnel, it starts from total product to clicked, and in between comes approved, in stock, targeted, and impressioned. What we really suggest you to look for is the top four, stages of this funnel, which is total products to approved to in stock to targeted. On the right side, you have the corrective actions mentioned. As I said, you can watch this video later as well, and you can pause on these screens in order to identify exactly what can be done to optimize your funnel at each of these stages. So if you're running feed-based performance max campaign, this segment will be significantly helpful. You can also use product diagnostics tool in Merchant Center in order to identify the products that are disapproved and act upon those. You can do it for new feed upload or any of the existing feed that you already have uploaded, and you can take corrective action to optimize feed. Another area which is a lot neglected is the shopping ads quality. So if in case you have a feed uploaded, make sure that the title, the quality of image, the description that you are adding, the other annotations of your performance max campaign are of top notch, and that way you can optimize your feed quality as well. Now, on this slide, we have tried to give you a best practice of how you can optimize the title structure of your product. Now, this is across multiple categories. So you can see we have examples for apparel, for consumable, for electronics, for seasonal, and books as well. So if you work in any of these categories, you can look at the recommended structure of title and an example of that title as well, and then you can try optimizing your title when it comes to feed and otherwise your performance max campaign as well. That was it, right? So we were able to cover quite a few content. As Pallavi explained earlier, you have an option and there is a possibility to win a lot of exciting opportunities for being an attendee to our session. And we again appreciate you spending 1 hour of your time with us. All you have to do is you have to scan the QR code that you see on the right side of your screen. By scanning, you will be taken to a Google form. On that form, make sure that you use your valid email ID and the CIDs that you manage, and submit a feedback that you have for the product, right? So if you have any suggestions, any feedback on how Performance Max works, you can submit those feedbacks over there on that Google form. And by doing that, you stand a chance to meet the PMs, the team that works on Performance Max as a tool, as a campaign. And you can also be part of our PE community, which is a very coveted community of product experts. So if you want to be part of that PE community, you can also fill in the form, and then you can show interest in being part of our PE community, product expert community. And then you also have an opportunity to win Google Swag. Again, as I said, the criteria is that you have to engage with us. Some of you asked us questions. We really appreciate all those queries that we received. And you can submit a feedback as well. So those will be sources for us to identify the right individuals to share swags and other details with. We really appreciate you all spending 1 hour and 2 minutes, close to 3 minutes now. So we really, really appreciate you all staying back with us. And with that, we bid adieu for today until we meet again. Thank you so much for attending the session today.